Well, I think it came as a real surprise, surprise for the supporters, for the staff, for the players. You know, it was something. I mean, in the 60s, we didn't know a lot about a lot of things, but we knew how to play football. But this happening, could it really happen? Was it allowed to happen? Was there someone doing something wrong or right that it could happen? And everyone was behind the club remaining at what it was, supporters, the players, and one thing and another.
I think everybody was, was biting their fingernails about, what was going to happen. And somehow or other, I don't think anybody really believed it would ever happen. I really don't think. I think everybody thought that we'd fight through it,
Yes, it was in the Daily Mirror. My breakfast table, Friday the 20th of January 1967. I nearly choked on my cornflakes. Yes, couldn't believe it. Very angry, shocked, bemused. I remember ringing up the supporters club secretary at the time, and I couldn't really find the right words to express, but I said, isn't there going to be some hoo-ha about this? And he said, well, the best thing is get down to the match tomorrow against Southend United and get as many of your pals to come along as you possibly can.
We're not going to let it happen. We've got a good supporters club. The people I know there that won't let it happen, and people will, when there's a disaster like that or semi-disaster, there's always people that come to the forum. Peter Pond-Jones was very forthright with the club at the time anyway, and he eventually, became I think he came onto the board one time. And there's loads of people outside, wanting to find out what's going to happen to the the shareholders meeting. Of course, when they came back out, of course, they said, no, Dunnett says he's definitely selling, etc. You can't do anything, I've got all the money, etc.
Yeah, I'd have been 15 at the time. So I'd been coming here for about 4 years at that stage. But I remember, back then there was no social media or no internet, obviously no mobile phones, or no local radio. So the first I knew about it was that morning when the papers had got Goodbye Brentford headlines on them and that sort of thing. And I mean, I can't help thinking that these days it would be rumoured and there'd be discussion about it and gossip about it on social media, weeks before any announcement was made. But in those days, it's difficult to know how else you would have got that information. So it was a complete shock.
Anne, who was Dennis Piggott's secretary at the time, she rang me at home and said that there was going to be something in probably the Evening Standard, the Evening News, prior to this one. And she said it was something that, not to take too much notice of. So I said, but you're ringing me, why are you ringing me? And she said, well, it's quite serious. So I had to wait to go out and get the papers, and I saw it then. The headlines were QPR to take over Brentford, and I remember thinking, no, this can't be right, no.